First growth. French. Premier Cru. Status is a classification of wines primarily from the Bordeaux region of France. History. Bordeaux Reds. The need for a classification of the best Bordeaux wines arose from the 1855 Exposition Universelle de Paris. The result was the Bordeaux Wine Official Classification of 1855, a list of the top-ranked wines, named the Grand Cru Class A, Great Classified Growths, with several thousand different chateaux producing their own wines in Bordeaux. To be classified was to carry a mark of high prestige. Within the Grand Cru Class A list, wines were further ranked and placed in one of 5 divisions. The best of the best wines were assigned the highest rank of Premier Cru. Only 4 wines, Chateau Latour, Chateau Lafite Rothschild, Chateau Margaux and Chateau O'Brien, were deemed worthy. Of all the 61 great classified wines, all but 1 came from the Médoc region. The exception was the Premier Cru Chateau O'Brien, produced in Graves. The 1855 list remained unchanged for over 100 years until finally Mouton Rothschild was promoted to Premier Cru status in 1973, after decades of relentless lobbying by its powerful owner, Baron Philippe de Rothschild. Of lesser importance, in 1988 the Premier Cru Chateau O'Brien was changed in appellation from Graves to Pessac-Léognan to represent apparent changes in soil structure caused by the urbanization of areas surrounding Bordeaux. Bordeaux sweet wines. Also in 1855, 21 of the best sweet wines from Bordeaux were classified as Grand Cru Class A in a separate list. In the original classification, 9 wines, primarily from the Sauternes and Barsac regions, were classed as Premier Cru, while 11 were assigned the lower, though still prestigious, rank of Dexime Cru. Second growth. 1 wine, Chateau d'Yquem, was considered so great it was granted a special Premier Cru superior classification. Other classification schemes in Bordeaux, with the exception of Chateau O'Brien from Graves, the 1855 classification did not include producers in the regions of Graves, Saint-Emilion and Pomerol. For details on their own classification schemes, see their sections below. Other classification schemes in France. Burgundy maintains its own classification scheme based on specific appellations. Although the terminology used is similar, the classification hierarchy is different and also attaches to the vineyards themselves. The most highly rated vineyards are graded as Grand Cru, while those at the next level are classified as Premier Cru. First growth wines today. Bordeaux Reds equals Premier Grand Cru equals Chateau Lafite Rothschild Médoc DOC. Porelac. Chateau Margaux Médoc DOC. Margaux. Chateau Latour Médoc DOC. Porelac. Chateau O'Brien Graves. Pessac-Léognan. Chateau Mouton Rothschild Médoc DOC. Porelac. Bordeaux sweet wines equals Premier Cru superior equals Chateau d'Yquem. Sauternes equals Premier Cru equals Chateau Latour Blanche. Baume. Sauternes. Chateau Laforêt Régy. Baume. Sauternes. Chateau Clos Régy. Baume. Sauternes. Chateau de Rainvino. Baume. Sauternes. Chateau Sadouy-Rout. Prignac. Sauternes. Chateau Coutet. Barsac. Chateau Climens. Barsac. Chateau Guérard. Sauternes. Chateau Rieux-Sec. Fargues. Sauternes. Chateau Ribaud Promise. Baume. Sauternes. Chateau Cigales-Robaud. Baume. Sauternes. The communes of Baume, Fargues and Prignac were once separate communes but now fall into the single commune of Sauternes. The Graves classification. After the Second World War, the omission of wines of Graves from the official classification was having a negative effect on the price and desirability of wines from the region. To improve marketing, the region announced in 1953 its own classification of red wines and one white wine, with more white wines added in 1959. 16 wines were given special classification: Chateau Busco, red and white; Chateau Carbonnier, red and white; Chateau Curins, white; Chateau Curins Lurton, white; Domaine de Chevalier, red and white; Chateau de Fusal, red; Chateau O'Bailey, red; Chateau O'Brien, red; Chateau La Mission O'Brien, red; Chateau Latour O'Brien, red; Chateau Latour Martillac, red and white; Chateau Laval O'Brien, white; Chateau Malatic La Gravière, red and white; Chateau Olivier, red and white; Chateau Papay Clement, red; Chateau Smith au Lafitte, red. The Saint-Emilion classification, missing from the 1855 list. The Bordeaux region of Saint-Emilion offered its own classification in 1955 to improve market demand and prices. The classification of Saint-Emilion wine differs from the 1855 list in that it is updated approximately every 10 years based on new assessments of quality. For each new release of the classification, wines may be promoted or demoted within the list. A wine may even be removed entirely, while other unclassified wines may be added. In 2006, for example, 11 wines were removed from the list, 6 new wines added, and 2 existing wines promoted to a higher division. The Saint-Emilion classification currently labels 15 wines as first growths. These Premiers Grand Cru Class A, subdivided into 2 further classes: A, 2 wines, and B, 13 wines. A further 64 wines are currently classified as Grand Cru Class A, Premiers Grand Cru Class A, Chateau Ozone, Chateau Cheval Blanc, Chateau Angelus, Chateau Pavie, Premiers Grand Cru Class AB, Chateau Beauséjour, Dufay-Lagaros, Chateau Beauséjour Béarn-Côte, Chateau Bel-Air-Monangay, Chateau Canon, Chateau Figeac, Clos Fortet, Chateau La Gaffelière, Chateau Magdalen, Chateau Pavie Maquin, Chateau Troplong-Mondot, Chateau Trottevière, Pomerol. Pomerol has refused to create any sort of classification scheme, but it has produced red wines that are among the most expensive in the world, such as Petrus. See also French wine, Bordeaux wine, wine labels, second wine. References